to kindly present his talk on healthy childhood development tips for parents. He is Associate Professor, Department of Pediatrics at AIIMS Bathinda.
Thank you. So, at outset, I am thankful to the organizer of MAPICON for giving me opportunity to speak over here. So, I shall be discussing topic healthy childhood development, which is in pediatric language nurturing care for early childhood development, NCECD. I will be changing these terms interchangeably, so please do not get confused. So, before I proceed further, my topic is largely guided by IAP Nurture guidelines, which are in line with World Health Organization, UNICEF, and World Bank Group on nurturing care for early childhood development. So, what are the scopes? I am going to explain what is nurturing care and early childhood development, what are the domains of early childhood development, what is good health, what is adequate nutrition, what is responsive caregiving, early learning opportunities, and safety and security. How many parents are there who are having young kids at home? Hardly. Okay. So the first edition of the Shark Tank, there was this gentleman.
वो स्किल्स आपके साथ जिंदगी भर रहता है। जो आदमी स्पोर्ट्स में अच्छा होता है, वो आप देखिए हर साल स्कूल के टीम में वही बच्चा स्पोर्ट्स में क्यों सिलेक्ट हो रहा है? बिकॉज नोइंगली या अननोइंगली ये सब स्किल्स जो फंडामेंटल
राइट टाइम our brain is going to achieve the great potential, because most of the development of the brain is going to happen in the early years of life, that is in first 3 years of life. So, but is it that simple? No. So there is a global estimate that almost 43% of the population of the world, that is almost 250 million of children, they will not be able to achieve their adequate development potential. Reason? Because we are not providing safe environment for early childhood development. So where is the problem? There are some risk factors and there are some protective factors. If we see in developed countries, these risk factors are significantly higher than the protective factors. So they can be in the form of environmental, demographic, biological or social factors. So, and the problem here, it is very big again in the developing country. If we take estimate of India, we expect that almost 70 million children in India, they will not be able to reach their adequate development potential. So, it is not only the right stimulus or right exercising of the brain. So, it is more wider than this. If we take UNICEF and WHO guidelines, it clearly says that it should encompass at least 5 points. So what is it? It is good health, adequate nutrition, responsive caregiving, security and safety, and opportunity for early learning. So all these encompasses early childhood development nurturing care. So these two words are coming time and again. First is nurturing care and second is early childhood development. So nurturing care is a state of providing safe environment which is adequate for the development of the child. So it is basically responsibility of family and state. Then early childhood development is a holistic concept where we are dealing with the health, nutrition, education, social protection, etc. And it is again subject of family. That means there should be family-centered care and also state-centered care. So I will be going through all these 5 components one by one shortly. So firstly, I will be covering health. So there are many factors which are highly overlooked in pediatric population. In India, we are facing the triple burden of malnutrition. On one hand, our more than 1/3 of population is facing undernutrition. A significant of population is going into overnutrition and obesity, and there is hidden hunger for micronutrient deficiency. So the burden of stunting in India is almost 38.4%. This clearly shows how is the status of chronic malnutrition in our country. Along with this, other issues of disability for which there is no standard policy still in our country. Almost 1.7 million children are born every year with some or more birth defects, and we are not doing much for most of them. So if we see healthcare at a glance, so the services, they should range from promotive, preventive, curative, rehabilitative and palliative. So the first three, promotive, preventive and curative, they should be provided universally. It is not possible for many families to get promotive, preventive and curative services for their families, but state should have responsibility to provide all these services universally. While rehabilitative and palliative service, they are mainly targeted. So what is majorly included in the preventive or promotive service in pediatric population? First of all is breastfeeding support. We hardly hear anybody that we are having breastfeeding counselor. If we see breastfeeding rate in our country, it is still somewhere around 60%. If we support only breastfeeding, we will be able to reduce under 5 mortality by 13%. If we are providing complementary feeding at 6 months of age to all children, we will be able to reduce under 5 mortality by 6%. If we are providing even safe water and sanitation and hygiene to the children, we will be reducing under 5 mortality by almost 3%. Just safe water and hygiene. Preventive immunization, we are relatively doing good. Growth monitoring, it is not being done universally, but it should be done. So same is the status of development monitoring. Every 1 out of 10 children in our country is having some or other neurodevelopment disorder. I am not exaggerating the figures. These are the studies which are done recently, and this is real-time data. Secondly, prevalence of autism spectrum disorder is almost 1%. Among males, it is almost 1 in 50, and female, it is also somewhere around 1 in 120. So it is again very big problem which we are going to face in the near future. I have always seen that in pediatric population, we are moving more toward the behavioral pediatrics, because behavioral issue, they are on the rise. So how do we evaluate growth and development most simply? What can be done? When a mother is registered in antenatal clinic, she is provided with the MCV card. So this is known as Mother and Child Protection Card. If we read this card carefully, this is available in all the local languages in our country. It is having very useful information. There are growth chart over this, but they are not regularly plotted. And also there are development milestone or development screening on these cards also. If we see this photograph, there is development age for 4 to 6 months of age. So it clearly describes what has to be done, when we should be cautious that these are the warning signs, and what parental tips can be given. They are given on the MCP card, and it is available free of the cost at every antenatal center where mother is being booked. Secondly, as I already told, that autism cases are on the rise. Reasons are many. So every one of us should be aware of that there is something known as MCHAT scoring system, and it is purely parent completed provider completed questionnaire, where we have to answer only 20 questions, and we can simply classify whether the kid is at the risk of autism or is suffering from autism. Why we are trying to identify them early? Because if we do early intervention, results are very good. And if we are delayed in intervention by more than 3 years, results are not that good. Now coming to the second important component of ECD, that is nutrition. Again, same is the problem. We are having very low breastfeeding rate, we are having very low complementary feeding rate, access to food is also not universally seen. So how do we identify that what has to be given to a child? Till 6 months, it should be exclusive breastfeeding. And after that, we try to divide our food into 7 groups. So these are the 7 groups which are there on the screen. So out of these groups, there can be people who are vegetarian and there can be people who are non-vegetarian. So at least more than 4 groups should be consumed within 24 hours every day. And they should be in adequate quantity. So that is known as balanced food. And we should be aware of that micronutrient deficiency will not be apparently presenting clinically, but we are having iron deficiency of almost 40% in our country. Every second child is anemic. So, and anemia has significant effect on ultimate development outcome. So now, this is the biggest problem nowadays we are facing. Mother is breastfeeding the child and she is seeing the screen. Child is feeding but looking at the screen. So this is not responsive feeding. So we have to, even if a neonate is born, he gives you cues to the feed. We should be understanding, a mother should be understanding the love, patience and play. It may take 1 hour to feed a 6-month-old child or 7-month-old child. They should be introduced with variety of food. The classical example of first 6 months is that they like colors very much. So if you give them colored food, they will be very eager to eat them. So the feeding experience should not be like this. It should be enjoyable to both parent and also the child. While feeding, eye-to-eye contact is must for adequate brain development. And there should be no forceful feeding. So this is the something known as responsive feeding. Now choosing the right complementary food. Now our baby is 6 months old, so we should be aware that at this point of time, complementary feeding should be introduced. There are a lot many diseases which are there in the society because complementary feeding is not started in the time. The most common in this region is this vitamin B12 deficiency or infantile tremor syndrome. So usually we start with semi-solid food and we gradually shift to solid food. Shifting to solid food comes somewhere around 9 to 10 months of age. At this time, taste bud also start appearing in the maximum quantity. So amount of food, quantity of food and duration of how frequently it should be given, these all are the important things when we are choosing the right nutrition for our babies. Now coming to the third part, which is responsive care. The first was the responsive feeding and this is responsive caregiving. So when a child is giving some cues, basically responsive caregiving is observation, recognition and appropriate response of child by the parents or primary caregiver that what he wants exactly. And there are people or mothers most of the time who correctly interpret what their children want and need. And if we are identifying these cues adequately, we are identifying those movements adequately. If we see when a neonate who is born, so he tries to convey a message. There is usually lip smacking multiple times. He tries to put his hands into the mouth. So God has designed a neonate in a way that he can give you some cues, he can show some movement, but we are not ready to understand them. So if we are understanding them well, it is known to increase social engagement, cognitive stimulation and emotional regulation. So now coming to another concept of positive parenting. So positive parenting is one that supports healthy development and adjustment. Now there is recent data from India and it shows that fathers are involved in positive parenting in less than 10% of the cases. So what is basically positive parenting? It is having 5 pillars. So basically we want that brain of our child should grow. There should be newer things a child should be learning. There should be safe, secure and loving environment for a child. But on top of that, there should be some discipline. So wall should grow high. It is like a house. The wall should grow high with positive relationship between a child. There should be significant autonomy given to that child. But there should be a roof of discipline. What should be there in a discipline? The positive disciplining model runs that children are not good or bad, only their behaviors are good or bad. So how we teach them? We create a safe environment. We establish a routine. We give child feeling of autonomy. Say if a child want to wear say red dress, so we can give them an option that these are the 3 red dress, you can wear one of them. But they should be socially acceptable. At that time, we should cut the demand of child also. We should not shout. They should never be bribed. That you are going to get a screen time, you are going to get some specific pastry or chocolate if you complete your homework. So this is not good disciplining. So very frequently we receive complaint in OPD that our child does not listen to us. He is totally in his mind and he is having highly unacceptable behavior. So you should not behave like the child. Be calm, state what is unacceptable and why. Give some time out. The rule of time out is, it is usually given after 1 year of age. The room should be very safe. For 1 year of age, 1 minute of this time out is recommended, and till the age of 5 years it goes up to 5 minutes. So they should be explained what can be the consequences if you are doing this thing, what is systematic ignoring. So sometimes child may be doing some unwanted things, you can ignore them for a while and let them understand things themselves. But it should not be abusive, they should not be beaten, because it is not going to manage the unacceptable behavior. So it will further come then that will be breaching the boundaries of social security to the children if we are beating them like this for unacceptable behaviors. Now coming to the opportunity of early learning. So can anybody tell me when should books be introduced to the child? Okay. So learning is promoted through play, communication and social interaction. And Article 31 of UNESCO clearly says that it is their fundamental right. Leisure is fundamental right of children and it should be provided to them. And every family-centered care and every family should provide leisure to their children, whatever may be the limit. So now for specific age there are some specific behavior and play should be organized in that way only. So they like few things at that particular time. So when I am hungry, I would like to eat the food. Similarly, when child is demanding something, it is better to give him that thing only. So say in initial first 6 months, they like bright objects very well. They use their bodies for play. They like faces of mother. They like various faces coming in front of them. Similarly, they can be stimulated in the same way. They can be massaged in different position. They can be, parents can make funny faces in front of kids. There can be dangling objects in front of them which are hanging. Bright objects can be given to the children, and there should be a limit to this. They have very short attention span. So if a child is not able to focus beyond 10 minutes, it does not mean that we should force him to keep on giving him the stimulus. So they have very short span. And these playing and toys, they changes over time with the development milestone and behavior of children also. So if I take example of 24 to 36 months, they develop habit of painting. They start scribbling things well. So they like swing, they like to explore the things. So they should be given this opportunity during this period. So they should not be unduly restricted performing these duties. So cultivating reading, it should be started somewhere around 6 months of age. Why? Because it enhances cognitive and language skill, it improves child and parent bonding, it increases concentration, and it is useful when they go to school also. So what should be the type of books they should be given? So if they are 4 to 6 months, clothes with pictures should be given to them. 6 to 12 months, thick booklets with 1 page, 1 or 2 images per page should be given to them. And by the age of 3 years, they should be introduced to stories and they should be allowed to ask the question and we should answer the question appropriately. Now coming to the last part of it, it is safety and security. So these are very two important terms. Safety is a state which one is protected from hazards caused by natural forces, while security is one in which one is protected from hazards that result deliberate human actions. Who is responsible? Anybody can be responsible. Parents, 5 people sitting on one bike, parents are responsible. Other family members, social abuse is very, very common. Sexual abuse among the children is very common. Community, yes, community can be responsible, and even government can be responsible for breach in the safety and security of children. So if you see problem statement of our country, neglect is seen in 16% of cases, physical abuse 23%, parents scolding and hitting the children, it comes under physical abuse. Emotional abuse is very common. If you read the definition of emotional abuse as per UNICEF, you will be surprised. And sexual abuse is seen in 18% of the girl and 8% of the boys. So, National Crime Record says that 5.9% victim of child sexual abuse are under the age of 16 years. So, this is the definition of emotional or psychological abuse. If parents are not giving, especially doctors, adequate time to the children to play with them, it also comes under emotional abuse to the children. So, we should be careful at our home how this safety can be promoted at home. They can be prevented from injuries in the kitchen, prevent electronic accident, prevention of poisoning, prevention of burns, scars and hyperthermia, fire prevention. All these are small things, but they should be addressed before a child is there in the family. So, we recently see children where the bucket is full in the bathroom and they just get a dip in the bathroom, 1.5 to 2-year-old child, and they are hypoxic throughout the life and bedridden for the rest of the life. So, toy safety. In the market, a lot of Chinese toy with button batteries comes. And if a child has taken button battery, his life is highly miserable. If a pediatric surgeon is sitting over there, they can well understand the issues after that. So, now in the last, teaching children good touch and bad touch. This is very important. So, we should tell our children as per various sites that what is the good touch and what is bad touch. So if somebody is giving you bad touch, just shout loudly, start crying and call for help. So these are the 3 messages which should be given to them very clearly. So to sum up, so there are few messages from UNICEF. बच्चों को सही पोषण दें, स्पर्श के महत्व को जानें, बच्चों के स्वास्थ्य और विकास का ध्यान रखें, बच्चों को आसपास की चीजें दिखाएं, बच्चे से बातें करें. And these things were very common before digital era, before the era of mobile. And these were the things which used to happen in the villages. But nowadays, they are not that common to see that these things are happening frequently. बच्चे से बात करें और उसकी बातें सुनें, बच्चे की एक दिनचर्या बनाएं, बच्चे के साथ खेलें और मस्ती करें, बच्चे को शौचालय का उपयोग करना सिखाएं. It should be taught after 18 to 24 months. Good touch and bad touch should also be taught after 18 to 24 months. बच्चे के लिए सीमाएं बनाएं. This is disciplining. बच्चों को डिजिटल गैजेट्स से दूर रखें. So in first year of life there should not be any screen exposure. After that, less than 1 hour of screen. Guidelines say 2 hours, but it is not an evidence-based fact. But it is better to give screen for less than 1 hour if at all required. So I have covered these 5 topics of responsive caregiving. This is possible with the support of stakeholders and people from the society and families. Thank you.